Hello everybody, I hope you can hear me. Please write in the chat if you can't hear me. Great, I see messages you can hear me. It's quite annoying to talk to yourself and nobody can hear you. So welcome again to our session about creating e-dih corridors, about collaboration. I was introducing the house rules, the same rules for the whole e-dih conference. Use the chat for technical questions, use the question and answers to ask questions to the speakers and vote on the most popular questions. I really hope that we'll have time enough to address the questions. There's a poll going to be open already, so you can vote on poll questions, and the slides will be uploaded in the files. So let's speed up. I don't want to introduce myself. You can see on the profile. This session is about how to create e-dih corridors. It was already mentioned several times, the importance of collaboration. We all know that it's important, but we want to know actually how to do it and try to exchange some lessons learned. What are the challenges and what are the underpinning business models to make the collaboration work? And typically, the collaboration is not an incidental collaboration, it's a structural collaboration between two different regions where the e-dihs play a very crucial role in connecting and helping to solve the challenges of different SMEs. And if you would visualize it, it looks very simple. It's just one SME going to an e-dih, going to another region to inquire, do you have the specific technical expertise in your other region to help and solve the issue of the company in my region. In practice, this is actually much more complicated than just visualized, because a region has to do with different expertise, different digital innovation hubs and a European digital innovation hub, different competence centers, regional policymakers, smart specializations. So actually, the whole field is very complicated. And we already have heard yesterday and today that collaboration is important. Why? It was mentioned already, it's important from the perspective of regional specialization. What is the smart specialization strategies and alignment, meaning also what is the expertise you have as a region in-house, where you're specialized in your state-of-the-art competences and knowledge is there, and which areas you might not have in-house. It's about access to the state-of-the-art infrastructure, removing the need for duplicating the investment into infrastructure into each region in Europe, but try to get efficiency and save, get a better return on investment from the public side. It's about learning together between different e-dihs, how to set up different business models, how to set up different good practices. It's about getting access to international value change, access to new markets. There are many reasons why collaboration is important, and we'll be hearing more about this, but there are also several barriers that makes it complicated. And we already have heard, and we'll hear in this session more about why it's actually quite complicated. There are issues here, legal issues, business-driven issues, trust issues, and we'll be hearing more about this. So without further ado, I would like to go to present to you the speakers. We're having today first Martin Babushka from the University of West Bohemia, who will is part of the BOE Widening Digital Innovation Hub project, and will share some experiences on what he sees as problems and potential solutions to actually help and underpin this collaboration. And we'll have a duo presentation of 5 minutes of two digital innovation hubs from two different regions that will highlight how they are already collaborating on structural level together. So over to you, Martin. The floor is yours. I'll stop my presentation and you can start sharing the screen. Sorry for slow delay.
Can you see my presentation? Yes, hello. My name is Martin Babushka, and I would like to introduce my presentation about creating of e-dih corridors and involvement of regional partners. In every e-dih, And every EDIH has regional partners like research centers, digital innovation hubs, business innovation centers, etc. And when two EDIHs will realize some activity between them, it will be necessary to involve the regional partners for that. For example, here, just for your imagination, you can the activity, cooperation activity between EDIHs, you can divide into specific tasks, and specific regional partners can solve these tasks. But where from we can get the money for them? The main solution could be to realize a specific budget for every EDIH, like a sub-grant scheme, where from they can pay the specific tasks for their original partners. We speak really not about a lot of money. We speak about small sub-grants, about specific tasks in open course, divided into three classes. The small one for 20,000, at least 20,000 euros, middle, and the large one, 50,000 euros till 80. When you will really need the best result, it is better when the 30% of the sub-grant will be paid very operational way, how to finance the cooperation between EDIHs and building corridors. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, my presentation will be very short, and now we are at the end. So thank you. And I give back the word to Sander. It stopped. My presentation is stopped. The sharing.
Okay. Christina here, apologies. Apparently, Sander was not heard from the public. Very sorry for the technical problems, but I would like to give the floor to now Cristina Oyon and Giuseppe Linati, who are going to present their collaboration between two hubs in two different regions.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Sanders. Thank you very much for this opportunity to explain in this relevant event the activity that the EDIH in Lombardia and the Basque DHA we are putting together. We didn't know it was a corridor, but now that you have given us this possibility, I think that we will name our collaboration as an EDIH corridor up to now. So I'm seeing now the slides. I'm going to introduce very briefly the Basque Digital Innovation Hub, and then afterwards Giuseppe will introduce the Digital Innovation Hub in Lombardia. First, the first thing that I can say now in next slide, you have some information. I'm not sure if you are going to be able to see it because it's very in a very small font, and well, we wanted to produce some information about our hubs. You will have the slides. In principle, the Basque Data Innovation Hub is an initiative coordinated by the Basque regional government. In fact, well, I'm Cristina Ollón, Director of Technology, Innovation and Sustainability at ESPRI, the Basque Business Development Agency. And we are the coordinators of a consortium of 21 members up to now. And we are, our members are research agents, RTOs, universities, R&D business units, and vocational training schools, and they are not-for-profit organizations providing research and development services. In the case of their activity in the Basque Data Innovation Hub, they are providing these services in the higher TRLs. And we are working in very much, this is an initiative of our smart specialization strategy, so we are working in different technological nodes, transversal technological nodes, such as cybersecurity or robotics or advanced additive manufacturing and advanced materials, but also we have nodes related with our smart specialization areas, smart industry, energy, and health. And just to finish the information, I'm very happy to share with you that we are co-winners of the DNet Champion Challenge. Today was the award ceremony, and we are really very honored to be co-winners of that prize.
Okay.
Giuseppe?
Yes, I commented the last part of the slide that was introduced by Cristina before. My name is Giuseppe Linati, I'm Director of Digital Innovation Hub Lombardia. As you can see in the presentation, Digital Innovation Hub Lombardia is part of the Confindustria system, and so we are part of the bigger industrial organization for the manufacturing that we have in Italy. And for sure, Lombardia, as you can see in the figure, is one of the bigger regions that we have in Europe, with more than 300 billion euro of GDP, that is more than 20% of the overall Italian GDP, so it's really a very important region. And also in terms of company that we have in our region is a huge number, and so we have really to try to follow and to support our industry, our company, that are specialized in different areas. You can see in the slide. So we have we have strong specialization in advanced manufacturing, for sure in agri-food, in aerospace, in health industry, and also in eco industry, and because we are also in Italy, for sure for the creative and the cultural industry. And so within this kind of scenario, with our EDIH, we provide some services to the company. First of all, we start to permit to them to understand what is the status of with the beginning status, and so we analyze what are the phase that we start, and based on the result of this one, we suggest some action that is important to deploy, not only, let me say, on front-end technology like robotics, artificial intelligence, and this, but also, let me say, on the traditional digital solution that for sure is necessary to have inside the company in order to provide some best performance process or something like this. And so, thanks to our organization, so we are really present in each province of our region, thanks to our antenna that are located in the same building that we have, let me say, our Confindustria organization, and the condition to task, let me say, more or less company by company within the region, and let me say, provide to them the services that I shortly described before. Also, as Cristina said on his organization, also our Digital Hub is part of the EDIH. Okay, so it's part of it's one of the 30 EDIH that was selected by European Commission in order to provide the artificial intelligence solution for a medium enterprise. Thank you very much, and so I pass to the next slide in order to comment better our agreement. Please, Cristina.
Yes. Well, first of all, I would say that...
Quand j'ai starté moi, la collection n'était pas bonne, du coup, ça indiquait que c'était vert, ça montrait pas chez eux. Et après, ça mettait que c'était plus vert.
Hello, yes. Next slide, please. Yes, thank you. Well, Basque Country has, as regions, we have different areas of collaboration going forward for the last years. In fact, our company, the Basque Business Development Agency, has also an office in Milan, and we are part of different networks together, which I think it's a very good starting point for our collaboration between our both DHAs. So in this sense, last year, 2020, we defined in the Basque Country a regional funding mechanism for giving funds to SMEs accessing the services that we have in our Digital Innovation Hub. And we decided to open this possibility also to share this potential mechanism of funding with different DHAs in Europe, where we have a specific collaboration activities going on. For us, well, as I said, Lombardia and their technological infrastructures are common members of our different collaboration schemes, and it was easy for us to establish this corridor between Lombardia and the Basque Country, with the idea of promoting in both regions between manufacturing industry, digitalization and sustainability. And we really are willing to keep on working in this area in order to have our companies the possibility of using services that the DHA in Lombardia is providing. For us, it's really interesting all their capabilities in artificial intelligence, because this is one of the areas that we really want to improve and to foster in the activity of our Digital Innovation Hub. So my first message in this session would be that it's really interesting, and I think it's possible to create these corridors, but it's important to have previous relations and previous collaboration schemes going on between creating trust between the actors of the corridor. Thank you.
Yes, correct. In fact, this is the last point that was highlighted by Cristina. I think that is crucial, because one of the key words of this event is the cross-border collaboration. So also yesterday, Mrs. Sassen highlighted this point, how it's possible to start this kind of activity. Also, Martin this morning mentioned in his presentation what could be, the topics of the cross-border collaboration. And for sure, within also the future European Innovation Hub network, the fact that it's possible to collaborate between two different hubs in order to provide complementary services in order to deploy, at the end of the story, to our company more and best services, for sure is, the final part of the agreement that, for example, we did between our two Digital Innovation Hub, and thanks to the more bigger, network that we are available to, we will have, in the near future, the European Innovation Hub network, for sure, we have been the condition based on some assumption, like, for example, the agreement that was done one by one by the different European Innovation Hub, or the mature also actual Digital Innovation Hub, we are in the condition to have more opportunity coming from the future network that is ready to be established. And so really, I think that the example that we put on the table between our two Digital Innovation Hub is that just the beginning of the more longer and important story that can be done thanks to the future network that will be established in the next years.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this presentation. I would want, as I promised, to save some time for panel discussion. Due to technical problems, we're already a bit behind. So thanks again for your presentation. We now have a panel discussion where also Maite Caracedo will be taking place in the panel discussion together with our speakers. Maybe Maite, I have a question for you. Earlier today, it was presented that the DNet project has initiated an open and informal precursor network. Could you share with us some conclusions for establishing collaboration between digital innovation hubs from that network? What were the problems and the challenges you've seen?
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Sander. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be in this panel today. And about the Precursor Network, maybe the first thing to say is that, the interest on European collaboration was very high. And a proof of this is that we have more than 60 candidate EDIHs that are interested in taking part, where we were discussing with them for several months now on topics of interest. And one of them was on this, right, on how to maintain and how to provoke this European collaboration, and maybe to share with you some of the conclusions. One of them is about, we struggled to find the business model, right, for making this collaboration sustainable. And we are all aware of this. We are still testing and working on it. But maybe one condition that is important for the hubs that were working with us is that they still want to remain the contact point, right, with the customer and providing the service to the customer. So it's on our side to organize offer and demand, okay, on the back office, and then the local hubs should be the one providing and maintaining the customer. I think this is quite relevant because it's something that is concerning the hubs. The other thing is on the role of the Digital Transformation Accelerator. We expect a lot from this DTA, but on the other side, we do not like the DTA to impose conditions, right? The DTA should set the boundaries, should provide the tools and the possibilities, right, for the rules of engagement for collaboration, but never impose a model, because this should be kind of a bottom-up process or a hub-to-hub process. And to finalize, what is also interesting I found is they were asking for a brokerage tool. And when I'm saying a brokerage tool is not a marketplace. It's not a tool that is going to display all the technology offer and is going to facilitate the offer and demand online, right? It's more a tool that will, connect the capabilities of offer and demand, right? But not solve things online. So maybe those are three conclusions that could be relevant for this panel.
Okay, thank you very much. I see one of the most popular questions asked now is this collaboration based on the complementarity between different regions or on the similarity of the needs of different SMEs? Maybe also again for you, Mike, a follow-up question. What do you have seen? You've seen in the different collaboration networks, there's an AI network of digital innovation hubs. You see in the Precursor and the DNet. What is the most successful form of collaboration? Is it more the similarities? We have the same prioritization, or is it the complementarity?
I think at this stage is mostly on the similarities. It is because this has been the tendency, right? We were connecting based on already existing networks. We have this network on AI, we have an IoT, on smart agri-hubs, and so on and so on. So at the end, it's on the framework of these big European initiatives, right, or funded projects, where we have had the possibility until now to test these corridors, to test this collaboration. So maybe that's the reason why, the type of collaborations were more on the similarities than on the complementarities. Also, always this identification of what I need to import is very difficult to some of the candidate EDIH, to be clear and to focus on what I want to import. So yeah, I think that's the situation right now.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe a question for, I see now in the poll, I see many people have voted. For people that have not voted, please you can do so. I see that 24% of respondents say they are already working with other digital innovation hubs from other regions. And 46% say no, we're not working yet, but we are planning to. So actually nobody, or just 1% of respondents say we do not plan to collaborate at all. So it seems that our participants are interested in collaboration. 24% are already collaborating, 46% are planning to. Giuseppe, is this a surprise to you? I mean, you're collaborating as well. You see the interest, the logic. Can you reflect on what were for you the reasons to collaborate, and why do you expect that other digital innovation hubs or candidates, EDIs, would also want to collaborate?
Yes, for sure. I think that is key, as mentioned before, and also the result of the poll highlight. It is important here to stress this kind of collaboration in order to extend the services that each European national regulation to provide, so have the possibility to extend this one, to add also more competencies at the end of the story, so we are in the condition to deploy more services and more competencies to our company, and for sure, last but not least, also to put in the condition a small company in a certain region to have the opportunity to speak, why not, with other company in the same sector, in the same value chain, or something like this that can create at the end of the story value for the both.
Okay, thank you. If I look at the second question, the fields, what is most important for sustainable collaboration with EDIs from other regions? 38% of respondents say the innovation ecosystem and networking, and 22% say test before invest, or say all fields are equally important. So especially the ecosystems and networking is seen as very important. Christina, how can you from the EDIH respond? What is also very important for you?
Well, yes, I think it's the service that the value proposition of this international collaboration is, I think, more clear in the case of networking and ecosystem building. So I would say that from our experience, this is the case.
Clear. Martin, you've identified in your presentation some of the possibilities, how you see that also small sub-grants could help finance, because one of the challenges in collaboration is also the business model. What are the main barriers you see in establishing collaboration? So finance is very important, and the difference between no finance or currently large funded projects like EDIH or Horizon 2020. You recommend maybe we should look at smaller sub-grants to facilitate this, maybe using the EDI approach. What are your anticipation of barriers for this collaboration?
Yes, when we speak about the money, these sub-grants are really for, let's say, short money for specific tasks. And you can choose to whom you will pay it and who will do the job for you. So it's very operative money. And the second thing is, I think we should prepare something like a network of people who really want to push the things forward. Because it is not about innovation, it is not about technology, it is every time it's about people. So let's find the right people in the right institutions, and we can start collaborate on anything what we want.
Okay, clear. Let's go to the next question. What do you perceive as the largest problem in sustainable collaboration? And now 32% of the respondents say lack of knowledge about other candidates' EDIs, and 24% difficulties in creating value propositions together. So I think it's quite clear that at least at this stage, the audience thinks that knowing your other EDIs, what they can offer, and the business model, the value proposition, what are we providing? What is the service you provide? What is the value proposition to your stakeholders for this international collaboration is also unclear. Maybe let's start with Giuseppe. Can you elaborate on your experience in collaborating with the EDIH? What is this value proposition you offer to your stakeholders for this collaboration, for your SMEs?
For sure. The point you have the opportunity to extend the competencies that you can have, not only, let me say, have a matching, so to put in the condition to different companies to stay for one time around the table and then stop. No. The value that we want to propose is to arrive also to build and to support a project phases. And so not only to create a link, but also to try to, to support in overall phases of the project. So arriving, starting from the beginning, from the design, arriving also to the implementation, to the deploy, why not in different also companies. But the point is that to try to support everything during during the, let me say, the overall phase of the project. And so really found a correct positioning and support the SMEs in particular in order to build the condition to realize a really good project. Sometimes also to explain the requirement is a difficult activity for some SMEs. And so the possibility to create value, also put in the condition to write what could be, let me say, the requirements that are necessary for implement a digital solution, I think that is one value that we can put. And we also put in the condition to realize this link between two different companies in different regions of Europe, for sure is another important value.
Thank you very much. I think it's a very important issue of the value proposition. So I would actually want to ask maybe also Christina, can you elaborate how would you offer this value proposition of sustainable collaboration for your region, for your SMEs? How do they value? What is it you are actually offering them?
Well, as I commented before, we have put in practice these new mechanisms to fund the access to the services of the, in principle, Basque Data Innovation Hub, but also we have opened the possibility for the Basque companies to access the services of other hubs in Europe with other hubs that we are connected with for different reasons, being one, for example, the Lombardia Data Innovation Hub. In principle, it has been difficult for us to make clear the value proposition of our hub for our companies, and it's going to be, again, more difficult to make clear for them the value proposition of working with digital innovation hubs that are not close to them in principle. But I think it's for some companies that are really eager to also internationalize, to understand the importance of an outward-looking scope. And I think this is a soft landing proposition for them, because we are going to accompany them in this idea of collaborating with agents from abroad that could open to these companies a broader international activity from the point of view of research and development, or from the point that could open further opportunities in the future for them. And I think this is an assisted way of making them more open to the world.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to the last poll question. Which of the most important enablers for EDI collaboration you think are the most important? And here we see that 37% of respondents think that the personal connection and trust established between two EDIs from different regions is the most important. And second, the clear business model that benefits all stakeholders. To me, not surprising. It's related to the third question. You need to know each other as EDI to EDI as well as person to person, and there should be a clear value proposition underpinned by a clear business model that benefits the stakeholders. Maybe still going to Giuseppe. Could you comment? Do you recognize that personal connections and the business model underpinning for collaboration are the two most important enablers?
Completely agree, because first of all, the business model is the key for each organization, and for sure it will be the key also for the Innovation Hub collaboration. So the business model defined who have to do what, on which price, on which market approach, something like this is something that we have to follow, absolutely. And behind this one, for sure, there is the trust that we have to have between the different, let me say, organizations. I want to say people, but for sure the different organization is something that is important to establish. And we can establish also, as we did, for example, with Christina, daily, starting to work and starting to understand what are the service that we can deploy, something like this. So really the trust is something that is behind, but at the end of the story, the business model is the key factor in order to understand what is possible to propose, and also what is, let me say, the success at the end of the story we are in the condition to deliver to our on-record customer.
Good. Thank you very much. I see in the questions, the second most popular question is actually on the wording. Why do we talk about corridors, and what's the difference with the cross-border cooperation? I think it's quite important to distinguish from the earlier session yesterday about cross-border digital innovation hubs, where a single digital innovation hub could have the coverage between different regions in different countries. Here we talk about how we can establish sustainable collaboration between two regions using EDIs, the two EDIs in two different regions. And I would highlight there's a bit difference between just international networking, cross-border collaboration, or pan-European collaboration that is one-off. We're part of EDIs could be part of a sustainable network of EDIs, or have a one-off collaboration cross-border. On the corridors, we try to take a look, can this collaboration be sustainable, repeatable over a longer period of time? And one of the reasons why we think this is important is that there's a lot of transaction costs to get to know each other. It's what we're discussing here as well, building the trust, building the know-how, the knowledge, and the collaboration model. It takes time and effort, and therefore maybe two regions can, at a structural way, try to collaborate, create this corridor where it's easier to have this cross-border collaboration repeatable, with less transaction costs happening, and that's what we could call a corridor. So it's not a one-off collaboration. It's not the Enterprise Europe network model where you can have a request and anybody in Europe can say, I have the technology available, but building the sustainable collaboration. Maybe a follow-up question for Maite on what could be the role for the EU, for the European Commission in the future to actually support this creation of corridors? What are the funding mechanisms? What are the other kind of support mechanism you would recommend?
Well, I think this is very relevant because, again here, the test before invest approach, I think is applicable, right? We first need to have some way for us to initiate those connections. And I think through different programs that are already available, like the Interreg, I think is facilitating this cross-border collaboration is something that we can use. Or maybe there used to be the ERANET, for policymakers. So, or even we are a good example, Sander. You and me, we are working together in this widening project called BOWI, where we try to put a EDIH for more mature countries in terms of innovation, with less mature, or what we call proto-hubs. And, today we had Martin as one representative of this case. So this type of mechanism, I think, are quite important for initiating. But, they are just for setting up the connection. What I'm missing sometimes is that we leverage too much on the funding. And we do ad hoc things, right? We just execute hours on those funded projects. And this sustainable vision, this strategic vision is very important. So we should really make use of those opportunities to build sustainable connections, okay? To expand our portfolio of services based on the learnings, and to even identify new markets for our hubs. So it's not just about executing projects through funding. It is about using them, okay, for growing. So, yeah.
Thank you. I think that's an important point. Maybe as a final question before we finalize this session, for Martin, do you think that there could be enough demand in your region from your SMEs and the willing and ability to actually pay for services provided by EDIs from abroad? Because I think there is a critical demand needed. An ability to actually pay if as Mike is saying, not everything can be publicly funded or to the small grants as you propose.
Of course, the people, the companies, they will need as much as possible subsidies, but it will be necessary. It will be necessary to get owner money, and I think we have to pay something from our resources and get less and less money from the subsidies and grants. So it's common future.
Exactly. So if I wrap up this whole session, we need to collaborate these corridors based on building trust, building the right framework, the right business models that maybe with the public funded supports we can initiate the collaboration, but the sustainable business model with clear value proposition towards the SMEs is very important, that it can be sustainable and repeatable. And we need to exchange best practices. How are we doing this? We see good examples already happening that can be replicated, and use this forum to actually also build a personal connection. So I would really invite participants, please use the chat function to actually approach us, me as moderator or speakers, to get into touch, to this informal chatting and build these connections, because the best way how to try to establish these corridors is building first the connections and the trust, and then through a sustainable business model and clear value proposition, deliver the services. I would like to thank you very much for participation in this session. I wish you good luck in both networking and participation in other sessions, and after this conference in putting to practice what we have learned. So thank you very much for participation. Thanks, speakers, panel members. Thank you very much.